it's cold here.
It's
Like
cold and gross.
it's North Carolina cold.
So what does that mean exactly?
What is it? 35 degrees, 33,
Okay,
somewhere in
I
there.
didn't actually look, but
cold.
yeah, it's
That's
pretty cold
legitimately
for
cold.
today. Yeah.
It might snow, like not meaningfully. It's not
I
going to
mean,
stick, but it might
some
it might
flurries
snow for the
maybe,
first time this year.
Mm-hmm.
which is relatively early for us.
Yeah, it's not uncommon for it to be like 70 degrees here at this time of year.
Yeah.
It's
What?
just not right now.
Oh, I've spent like New Year's days in tank tops before outside. So, yeah. I mean,
But you're not
it,
even like deep south. I would think of that maybe for like the really, really low states, but oh my gosh.
I mean, it gets cold here. We
it
actually
does.
have four seasons. Just two of them don't last very long.
Well, and winter tends to do this bipolar thing where it thinks that it's spring or fall or something somewhere in there. So it kind of comes and goes
Wild.
as it pleases. Yeah.
Um, well, I'm
So how are you?
yeah, I was gonna say I'm in the high desert in Oregon, and it's been like, between 30 and 35 for weeks now. I'm just used to there being snow on the ground. And yeah, it's incredible to me to think about anyone wearing anything besides snow pants when they step outside their front door.
Yeah, it definitely makes it harder to adjust to it being cold on the days it's cold because it's like you get cold for like 2 days and then it's warm again and then you need the coat again. So yeah,
Well, like today was a day that one should not have worn shorts outside, but
yeah,
like 2 days ago, that'd have been fine.
yeah. My coworker, he spent the last like 5 years or whatever in Chicago, and
Okay.
he came in today and he's like, I should have worn my Chicago jacket. He's like, but I don't want to. I feel like that it's not cold enough for that. I was like, yeah, but cold in North Carolina is so different from cold up north. Like,
Yeah.
you just got to cave. Your body doesn't have all the time to acclimate, I think.
I think it's so cute the way that humans like name their items of clothing after the places that they often wear them, right? Like when
Yeah.
I went and studied abroad my junior year of undergrad, I had what my mom called the Ireland coat. She still calls it the Ireland coat. And I got it for that trip. Like I wore it on the plane, and it was like insulated three different ways, and it was like it was a trench coat style, but it was waterproof and it was really thick, durable material. So it wasn't like a stylish trench coat,
Hmm.
but it covered a lot of my body. Because
Yeah.
I was there from January 6th until like something like May 1st. And oh God, it's so cold there. um, it's so cold and it's so rainy. And I thought I would be prepared for that coming from the Pacific Northwest. But they also get these really icy winds in the UK and Ireland. And yeah, my Ireland coat, I wore it
Yeah.
every single day. And I would just sort of like burrow my hands into the big sleeves, and I just walk around like this, like hunched against the wind. So I think a Chicago coat like that totally tracks.
Yeah. I definitely have my New York coat as well.
Hmm.
So yeah, it was a thing. It was a purchase for before I moved there. And now I break it out like in October here, which just seems really lame. But yeah, you do what you got to do.
So what are we drinking today? I'm drinking water. I'm so boring.
I'm drinking coffee, also boring.
I
Also,
am,
so
yeah.
I had to go to the grocery store right before this. I'm smoking chicken, and we are making chicken salad,
Nice.
and
Yum.
I needed to pick up a couple of things. Um, and I made the mistake of saying, "Hey, I'm gonna free coffee at the Sheets, which is like right across the street from where I
Mm.
live." And that was a dumb. It was like everybody needed to do business at the convenience store. Like there was one dude like processing what I'm pretty sure was like 6 weeks worth of lottery tickets.
Oh no.
And I saw my first unmasked vigilante in a while, and so that was a thing,
Great.
Don't be that person.
Well,
you know.
what's a little alarming to me about you drinking coffee now is that, it's 5 p.m. your time. It's 2 p.m. my time. I could maybe get away with drinking coffee, but I worry that you won't sleep tonight.
No, I'll sleep. I live a kind of life where I'm like, I'm gonna sleep. I'm gonna like, and it's gonna probably start about 8:25 p.m. I'm just gonna like knock out, and I'll wake up at 7 or something. That's sort of where I am these days.
Well, I wish I was there.
Me too. That sounds.
I have been taking a lot of naps.
I'm not saying
over
it's
the
a good thing.
weekend.
I'm saying it's where I am.
Yeah.
It requires about, I'm gonna say, 65 to 80 ounces of caffeine a day to get me to this point.
Yeah. I drink about that much coffee as well.
So, and some drugs. I mean, legal, but.
Hey, yeah.
So, and I stayed up late last night because I am an American football fan, and my team is Kansas City, and they weren't playing in prime time, so I stayed up a little late to like 11:30 or something.
Did you win?
Yeah.
Good job.
We're winning all the games right now except one.
Yay.
That's nice. Were they playing in Kansas?
So this is a little trivia. They were playing in Kansas City, Missouri. Yes, which is where I am. One of the places I am from.
Yeah.
My mom's family still lives there. So I grew up as a Chiefs fan, and they're good now. They weren't for my entire childhood, really. And so it's nice.
Was it like snowing on the field?
No, it was cold. It was like 35 degrees there,
Yeah.
but it wasn't too bad. Midwesterners are used to that.
Oh, we really are. We were watching a football game. It was like our version. They used to call it the Civil War. I don't know what they call it now, but it's Oregon State versus the University of Oregon, right? That big game. They were watching that. My family was watching that at Thanksgiving time, and it got so cold and so foggy that you couldn't see the field. Like, we were watching it, we were like, we think that maybe our team has the ball, but we couldn't tell you.
That's
because it was like smog. It was just like gray smog, and then occasionally you'd see like a bright orange uniform like run out of the haze. You'd be like, oh, there's one. Because that's this time of year, like, depending on where you are in the States, like, those football games can get so cold. What are you drinking, Jessie?
Oh, I'm being lame as well, and I finished off my cranberry juice and stuck some lime juice in it. So, yeah, I'm being a little lame. I'm like, afraid to even touch alcohol right now because me dropping off and taking a nap is like that right now. Mm-hmm. I took so many unintentional naps this weekend, and I couldn't tell you why because I slept plenty. Yeah, I don't know. I think I'm broken.
It's holiday season of 2020. We're all a little broken.
It is. It's winter. I think I need to be like a bear. Like, I think I'm a bear in my other life, and I just eat a lot right before winter, which definitely also happened. And then I need to sleep.
It's amazing you could need more hibernation. I feel like we've all been hibernating for so many months now. But life never slowed down. Hibernated with no sleep.
Yeah.
Which is like
if anything, I think I was busier to some extent. Mm-hmm. I don't know.
Me too. Yeah, I'm still in semester recovery mode for sure.
That doesn't surprise me. When do you?
Maybe in about 10 days, I will, be interested in life again.
Well, we look forward to that.
It's definitely not true right now.
That'll be about
in time for Christmas.
That'll be about two cocktail hours from now, and it would be great to have you in, with some festive cheer.
I might get there. We'll see.
When does second semester start for y'all?
For me, it's January 25th.
Okay.
At Fayetteville State, so we've got some time.
Mm-hmm. That's good. Yeah,
I think it's a week ahead. I'm teaching a class at Methodist University too. That's a week ahead, but it's a sort of different order of magnitude. Like, because it's not my job, so I just go up, show up for an hour and teach, and that's totally different than like office hours and committee meetings and blah.
Yeah, sure. So we're supposed to be talking about New Year's resolutions today, which seemed impossible when I saw it on the schedule because I was like, it's early November. And then I was like, oh my God, no, it's the second week of December.
Yeah.
So
Sounds like naps.
New Year's
I mean,
resolutions.
that's what I've gotten from this conversation so far.
Naps is our resolution.
I mean,
yeah.
I wish I could take naps. That would absolutely be my resolution. I just can never sleep.
I can't intend a nap, that's for sure. I can never intend a nap. It is an accident. Usually brought upon with a dog.
I find myself wanting to nap every day.
That definitely.
I have, like, some weeks it'll be like 100% batting average. Most weeks it's about a 15% batting average. You know.
Yeah.
Sad.
Yeah, so maybe making naps intentional, Jessie, would be a good New Year's resolution for you.
See, I've tried it. My body resists the idea of a nap. Even when I was like a toddler, I didn't nap. I would spend my nap time rearranging my stuffed animals in my bed according to size. True story. My mom has photo evidence.
I would just recommend unto you chemical enhancements. I mean, they will get you nappy. I think they're illegal in Claire's state.
Don't try this at home, kids.
Just have a special brownie or something.
Yeah, they are legal in my state.
Maybe one day here.
Everything's legal in Oregon.
Yeah, it's so funny. I've never really done the New Year's resolutions thing. And maybe that's just maybe that's just a big red flag of like privilege, but I don't know if I've ever been like, I want to do this thing this year. I feel like I make those kinds of resolutions for myself throughout the year, like when I think of one, but it's not like a thing that I do at the end of a year particularly.
Yeah, I don't really do that either. Although in 2020, as it happens on January 2nd, I went and bought a gym membership. But it was more like, I'm sick of this right now, so let me go. But it wasn't like it happens to be associated with New Year's because like that's the time I get to think.
Sure.
But I just went to the gym. You know, it was like
you have free time.
Yeah.
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 And so I stuck with it until COVID hit and the gyms closed, and then it was kind of a mess for a while, but I've been back at it since August.
That's good.
We're going to shut down here in like 5 minutes, and then I don't know what will happen. But
Yoga with Adrienne, I recommend for you some nice yoga workouts.
Okay. That sounds really nice.
She's on YouTube. She's great. Yeah, I've done the whole resolution thing in the past. And then the last few years, I kind of got over it and was like, half the time I'm failing. I don't like this. I'm not going to do it. So last year, or I guess this year, I started off, I was like, I'm just going to give myself a word to be the goal. And it was communication. And I was like, I'm going to be better at communicating with my friends and just like, checking in on people. And I feel like I've done a pretty good job of that. It was definitely easier before COVID, but I think also COVID put a more urgency to it to check up on people.
Sure.
So I will say this year I've done a pretty good job. But I've also like throughout the year just decided that I have built in different goals. So I've also set mini goals throughout of just things I want to focus more on. So.
That's a nice way to think about it. Like the one word thing. I like that.
Yeah. I have my word for 2021. I've actually been working on it for a while. That word is boundary.
That's a good word.
That's the word I'm going to work on.
That's an important word.
It's a hard word it's a hard word.
It is a hard word.
That is the word that's my word.
It is a word that will feel really good when you start nailing it.
Yeah.
Get there.
Yeah.
It'll take a minute.
It takes time. It takes practice. I'm still learning it, I think.
Yeah, I think my word is going to be balance for 2021.
I was thinking about balance just a minute ago. We're doing the
telepathy thing.
But actually, I'm like I could go with balance, but then I'm like, no. I've been imbalanced in basically all senses of that word for, I don't know, 25 years or so. And being balanced is not like there is no, what is the word? Justice. Like I would have to compensate. Do you know what I mean? That would have to be my word. So anyway.
Well, I think to reach balance, you have to form those boundaries.
Yeah, I agree.
I think it's integral to actually getting that true balance. I actually was also kind of on the balance mindset. I was thinking about it actually today at work, and I was like, flow, that's my word for the year. Which I was like, that's kind of like balance. I was like, no, but it's a little different. So I was like, flow is like active. And I'm like, I have a hard time slowing down, but I think a flow is steady.
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of my goal, is to get a steady flow of all the things I need in my life, and not lacking and desertous in some areas. And is that a word?
I don't know. I like it's a useful
It is
adjective.
now.
Yeah.
It is now. TM.
I'll use desertous.
Oh yeah. So that's, yeah, I think we're sharing some brainwaves today.
I mean, they're all responses to capitalism, I feel. Right? They're all a response to the, work hard all the time, and to take a break is a sign of weakness. And, your worth is equal to your output.
Mm-hmm. And I will say this to Jesse's word flow, and to the to apologize for capitalism in the smallest possible way. It's like there is a kind of work that does actually give you energy and not take it away.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's, for me, that's what flow means.
Yeah.
For me, the boundaries help carve out what that work is and what it isn't.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think, that kind of hits it on the head. And also there's a point where, the work that is good and that you enjoy can become too much when blended with everything else you have going on. And that's something I've found I've done to myself a lot this year, especially in those times where we're like, oh, I have more time now that I'm at home and stuck here. And then I would put too many things on me, because I'm like, I have time for this and this and this, and it's so exciting, and I never have time for this. And then I really don't have time for any of it to be done well. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, I would much rather produce good work in the areas where I'm choosing to put my time, I think, and where I have to put my time so I can, feed this dog here.
Yeah, something that I've become really aware of in 2020 is how much of an investment time is. Time is an investment. Mm-hmm. And I've been extraordinarily privileged in my life to invest it in the things that I really care about. A lot of people don't have that option, or it just costs a lot more than it has costed me, and I'm very aware of that. But I'm also aware of when other people invest time in me. And the only way I can really properly show my gratitude for that is not to waste a second of it, right? To really try to honor that investment as best I can. And to do that, I need to have a spiritual balance, a balance of work, family, personal responsibility, and fun time. I do have a 7 wing, and I just need to have fun sometimes. I just need it. I like that. And I don't often allow myself to do it, and that totally builds up like a pressure cooker inside of me, which is why I had some wild nights in college and grad school. I think a balance of I need to balance my priorities a little bit better than I have in the past. With everything that's happened in my sort of personal sphere, I'm just becoming more and more aware of how precious time is, how important it is to invest it well, and to invest it in the places that are really meaningful. But again, if I'm going to invest my time somewhere, I want to be at my best when I'm there, when I'm in it. And I think, Jeremy, you've talked about being present. We talk in theater a lot about what it means to be present and the gift of being present with each other and with, material, with a story or with a song, or being present with the reality, right? If you're sitting in a circle with people who are grieving, right? It's like being present with the grief and the emotion. And I'm becoming more and more aware of like my inability to do that when my personal like equilibrium is just so like warped. So I totally agree, Jeremy, that like boundaries they're the cornerstone of getting that balance. But for me, just even trying to figure out what a good ratio is like a good place for me to start, because I think my ratio is out of whack right now.
I will say, to be generous to us as well, this is really common. It's like planter syndrome.
Yeah.
My brother is a farmer, and and that's actually before I came to North Carolina. I taught for 3 years in North Central Iowa.
That's right.
And my growing up is all in the sort of agricultural Midwest. So like that's everything I know. And it's just like, I guess the way to describe it, and what I think I hear you saying is like, it doesn't work to just plant all the time.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Sometimes you have to like reap, and sometimes you just have to like let it sit. Do you know what I mean?
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
And like, I know this is true about me. I imagine it's true about you to some degree. It's like, there's been a lot of planting lately. There's been a lot of like,
sure has
a lot of planting.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
let it germinate. Let those seeds.
Speaking of agriculture, plants, New Year's resolutions, I wanted to circle back to some North Carolina food stories.
Oh no.
Oh yes.
For Claire, related to New Year's, specifically New Year's.
Yeah.
There is a tradition here in North Carolina. It's in the South too, but where you on I think it's New Year's morning, you wake up and you eat black-eyed peas and collard greens.
Collard greens.
As your and I want to say
ham.
And that's right. And there's a bean-based thing too called Popinjay. But I think it's the black-eyed peas and the collard greens that are like the anchor of the New Year's tradition.
Yes.
It's like that's what you eat to kind of get your
luck and your wealth. It's like I know the greens are for like wealth in the new year. I think the beans are for luck. I'm not sure.
And like well, pre-COVID, there's like so one of the event venues in Fayetteville is a complex that used to bring in like lots of like Broadway road tours.
Okay.
And it brings in concerts, and there's like a minor league hockey team and an arena football team and some other things that happen there. And that's where all the big events happen. Like that's where the Elton John concert is and all of that.
Fall festival and all that.
Every year on New Year's Day, they have an enormous community-wide beans and greens eat fest.
It's a thing. I went with my grandmother one year.
You just go eat
the
black-eyed peas and the greens and just sit with other people.
It's a lot of fun. I went with my grandmother one year. I think I was in college, and it was like such a strange thing to do. But yeah, it was really fun. It was packed.
I don't know if I've ever had black-eyed peas or collard greens in my life.
Well, you can't take 3 steps without stepping on something like that.
I'm not a huge fan of black-eyed peas, personally, but I do love me some collards, and Joel has grown some this year, and we still have some, and we actually cooked them up for Thanksgiving, and they turned out really well.
I do like a collard. I like go hunting for collards at the barbecue places. Like you probably know this, Claire, but like North Carolina is a big barbecue state, and it's got like a super distinctive style. Actually, it has 2 styles native to it. Yes. One is Eastern North Carolina, where we are, and one is like 2-3 hours west. And they have like one's only shoulder based, and one is like mixed meat. One has white slaw, one has red slaw. Those are the major differences. But then like at all of these places, it's all about the sides. So like it's fried okra and collard greens, and sometimes it's black-eyed peas. Sometimes it's like a tomato thing.
I like the tomatoey potatoes.
That's all, you know. And Fayetteville's like in neither tradition. Like it's in Eastern North Carolina, but like
We're more Eastern.
Fayetteville is like a cosmopolitan island in the middle of rural North Carolina because of the military and all the chains.
Right.
So there's like nothing like it's not home to an authentic cuisine like that. It's just world.
Sure.
But you can drive like an hour or something and get to some place.
Oh, you don't even have to go that
my favorite place to go on New Year's Eve, and we've done it for several years now. Jake French with the company, his birthday is New Year's Eve.
Oh, cool.
So usually what we do is go to a place called Pick and Pig, which is a great barbecue restaurant on an airstrip.
Oh.
And people like fly in, park their planes, helicopters, whatever, and then they just walk into the restaurant and you get the food. And it's really good. They cook it over charcoal, which is different than a lot of other places. They'll cook it over wood or they'll cook it over gas or something, but wood is the way to go. Charcoal is like level up. But they have a barbecue parfait. It is quite the sight. It's served in a parfait cup, and it's like layers of like baked beans and coleslaw and barbecue, a couple other things.
Wonderful.
You know, it looks like a little ice cream sundae, except it's savory.
Wow.
Yum. That sounds good. If you're not
as a birthday, that's awesome.
It's a lot of fun.
And one of the places we'll take you to, it's closed now, my location is, but there's one on the south side of town. Like it's buffet food. Okay. So it comes like there are lots of buffets in town that do the Southern food thing, and you should ignore most of them. But there's one that's really good called Fred Chasen's Grandsons. They have 3 different locations. But it's like you could eat your weight in all of the Southern food you can imagine.
It's delicious.
Okay.
So
they
do the pig picking. Have we talked about that? Like on some,
yeah, we've talked about it. Pig picking
is like when you roast a whole hog, and like you just invite your neighbors in the community over. And it's usually served for it's like you do it for birthdays or anniversaries or special occasions or church potlucks or whatever. But Fred Chasen's does a pig picking every week.
I didn't know that. But
yeah,
I don't go there enough.
Wow.
Quarters or something.
That is a lot of pigs.
It's yes, it's a lot of pig.
It goes fast.
That was a digression, but it got me excited because of the New Year's.
New Year's food.
I am looking forward to experiencing all of these wild culinary, delights of North Carolina. It will be an experience for me because I guess we eat some meat in our family, but like we are not. We certainly don't live in a part of the world that is amenable to a lot of outdoor barbecuing. There's too much rain, and so I really have never eaten like Southern food in the South because I have 2 real experiences of like being south of the Mason-Dixon line. One of them is the 2 times that I went to Stanton, Virginia, which is like very, very far north of the South. And then the other was I was down at the University of Alabama for 3 days to visit a friend once on her campus, but I really only saw the school. Like I didn't see Alabama. I just saw the university. About
an hour away from Stanton is one of the great barbecue places I've been to. I think it's called Blue Ridge Pig. It's great. If we're there, we'll detour.
Okay.
Alabama has its own distinctive barbecue sauce, really, not a style.
I'm sure.
Usually it's more the sauce anyway.
Yeah.
A white sauce?
Mm-hmm. It's white. I don't know. I don't know what it's based in. I assume mayonnaise, but it's white.
Okay.
Of course, I've done like a mayonnaise-basted chicken before, which was a trick I learned when I was living with my Jewish friends in New York. Instead of butter, you use mayonnaise because it's not dairy.
Right.
So that was a cool trick I learned. I thought it was super weird, but it works.
Can I ask, I happen to love Arnold Palmer's. Like, it's one of my favorite drinks. Is that like, I don't know, is that considered sacrilege? Because it's not sweet tea, it's like unsweetened tea with lemonade?
No, people do it all the time down here.
Okay.
It used to be my favorite drink for a long, long time.
I love it.
And then I sort of got over the sugar,
I'm more of a sweet tea person, but I do a lighter sweet tea than most of the South does.
Mm-hmm.
I tend not to drink sweet tea. I used to a lot, and then
What a thing to admit on the air.
And then I weighed 300 pounds, and I decided, no, thank you. And so I mostly don't.
Yeah, I don't make
the best sweet tea I've ever had in my life. I got in Harlem, and it's been nowhere down here. I mean, it's all like sugar water. And it's good, and there's some standouts here and there, but that's the best place I've ever had it.
Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, I did try sweet tea when I was in Harlem. I enjoyed it, but it was too sugary for me. I think the thing I love about Arnold Palmer's is that the tea has to be unsweetened, as far as I'm concerned, and it has to be like 60% of the drink. Like, I don't want it equal. I want more tea, and then like the lemon and sweet is just like this really nice, overlay.
I will say, as far as North Carolina cuisine goes, a good 90% of the places you go for North Carolina food would be a place where you make your own Arnold Palmer out of the fountain.
Oh, I'm totally good with that.
Yeah.
I'll do that. Happily.
There are not, I mean, there are, but it's pretty rare to have a sit-down barbecue place. Like, that makes sense. There are tables, but it's not like waited on.
I can see that.
There are
I like that.
It's pretty rare.
I like it when it's a little bit more informal, especially when lots of people can sit around one table. I really enjoy that.
I love
extroverted.
If you're ever like Greenville, NC has a chain, like a small like local chain called Parker's Barbecue, and one of them is more like our Smithfield's Barbecue, where you go up to the counter and order. But they have another one that sit down and they serve you family style, which I absolutely love.
That's cool.
This reminds me of a place. Okay, so I know we're totally off topic, but I've gotten excited now, and my coffee has kicked in, and so here we go. We were mentioning Missouri, and all of this family style food and Southern informed food. So if you're ever in Missouri, there are two places. The two places, I can't remember the other one. One's in Nixa, Missouri, Southwest Missouri. It's a place called Lambert's Cafe, and it is famous as the home of throwed rolls. And it is, you sit down with your family or whatever, and if you wish to have a roll, which are about this big, they're huge, right? They're as big as this. You just like wave your hand at the roll thrower, and they'll chuck it across the restaurant at you, and you catch it. And it's hot, and you just butter it up or put honey or molasses on it, and it's eat. But they do all of it's fried chicken and like the southern sides and liver and onions and weird stuff like that. And you just order it, and they plop it down on a napkin in front of you. It's not really a plate even. It's just like, you want some black-eyed peas? Sure. And they just like spoon it onto your napkin, and you just eat it from there.
It's fantastic.
Like macaroni and tomatoes and other stuff like that. It's fantastic, truly.
I have a picture. We went on a road trip. We were going to Branson, and we did like this whole
talk about Branson a whole session sometime.
Branson is its own thing.
Is Branson in Missouri?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
it's like Showtown. It's like
a Showtown. Beach. It's like Vegas for Baptists is the way I would describe it. It's like,
what does that even look like?
It's a bunch of big theaters.
A lot of variety shows.
Big amusement park there called Silver Dollar City,
which is awesome.
It's all kind of Old West themed, slightly Southern / Old West. But like Andy Williams, like built a theater there and did a bunch of shows for years and years. It's like
Sight and Sound Theater.
Culturally, it's like the country music Nashville kind of thing, but it's mixed with Vegas kind of. But like the alcohol culture is gone. Like, I'm sure they serve alcohol, but the sin part of it is gone. It's just like recreation city for, I'm not kidding, a bunch of Baptists and
particularly Baptist blue hairs.
And it's like in the Ozarks, it's kind of mountainous, and there's a lake there, and it's like where people go to vacation if they're not going like way far away.
We went way far away to go vacation
And
there.
like a lot of singer dancer types from like New York, they get called out there on audition. They just go work as dancers for whatever shows those are. And it's a gospel kind of feel, but it's this, I don't know. The town itself is not huge, but like it's sinless Vegas kind of.
Fascinating.
I mean, there's plenty of sin. It's just a different kind.
I really haven't spent much time in the Midwest, like at all.
You spend some time on Google looking at Branson, because I think you're going to go down a hole and it's going to be delightful. And I want to see what happens when you come back from it.
I mean, it sounds fascinating.
It is truly fascinating. I know a couple people who work there now, including a dancer, a choreographer.
Yeah.
Production of Spamalot I was in here at CFRT, and a guy I went to college with who he and his buddy run a whole show down there. Like they have a whole theater and everything. And he played Laertes in my first Shakespeare production. I played Claudius.
Nice.
And now he does. It's called Buckets and Boards, and it's like Stomp Light, but he and his buddy like lots of percussion and stuff. And they have a whole show there, and then they go on Disney cruise lines the rest of the year. Not now, of course, but like that's
yeah.
Anyway, I've rambled far too much.
It was a good ramble.
There's so much of the United States apparently that I need to experience.
There is.
Yeah, I think on your way out here, like whenever that happens,
Just make a nice tour.
Just a long trip.
Yeah.
I also highly recommend swinging by St. Louis, if only to go to the City Museum.
Yeah.
That place is fantastic.
I've always wanted to go to St. Louis. I may have to stop there on the way.
My father is from St. Louis.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we were there for like a couple hours to go to this one museum, which was just crazy fun.
Yeah.
You like get to crawl through things. It's like a child's dream. Or a grown-up's. They have like these man-made caves and like undersea wreaths that you crawl through. It's fun.
My memories of St. Louis are mostly of visiting my grandfather, who lived there until a few years ago, and now he lives with my uncle, near my uncle, in Colorado. But anyway, my grandfather is Santa Claus. I don't know if you knew that.
I didn't.
He is Santa Claus. His name is Vern. And he looks like me, except he's like, well, now he's like almost 90. And he's just got a big white beard. I mean, it's like this, except aged and Santa Claus. It's what I'm growing into. I mean, I will be Santa Claus someday. Anyway, yeah.
Well, I'm sure it's a great comfort
goal.
knowing that you'll take over the family business someday.
Yeah.
Boys and girls, stay good.
Are you practicing by eating cookies?
I do. I have been known to eat a lot of cookies.
Me too.
Same here.
I'm a big fan of cookies.
Rob and I are having a whole show this week. Not a whole show. But we're having a show this week where we're recommending products, and one of them is Rob is recommending cookies. Like a certain kind of cookie.
Oh.
I think it's called Milk Jar Cookie Company. And the cookies are like also about this big, like super thick.
Are they crispy?
That
something to
so
look forward to.
I'm not the only one that loves eating chocolate chip cookies when they're like not fully baked, right?
I prefer mine like almost overcooked. That's me.
I can appreciate both if they do the trick. I do like a crunchy cookie that like sticks in your teeth, but I most of the time I'm after a softer chocolate chip cookie.
Guinness, do you like cookies? Do you like cookies?
I mean, I certainly hope he doesn't like chocolate chip cookies. That could be very bad for him.
No, but Joel likes to call their dog treats cookies, which gets really confusing when I make cookies. No, we're not getting a cookie right now.
I mean, as long as they don't look alike, then you'd be in real trouble.
They don't. Well, he has actually stolen real people cookies off the counter also. He loves oatmeal cookies in particular. Oh, yeah. And like banana bread, which he's also not supposed to have, but he has thieved these things in the past.
You have an incorrigible pet. You know that?
I do. He's usually a good boy, but yeah, we make sure that healthier baked goods are out of the way.
I did a live stream about the digital restoration series yesterday with 3 of my colleagues, one of whom, Patrick, owns 2 cats. One of them is a naked cat and has a cone around her head. I gotta tell you,
Better.
like, this happened in the live stream. It also happens in rehearsal. Everything comes to a halt when that cat shows up.
Oh yeah.
It's just too funny. It's too distracting. It becomes the star of whatever happening on Zoom.
Especially a naked cat with a cone. Like, I don't know how you could go on with that.
And that cat absolutely makes an appearance. So if you watch the live stream, she's there.
You said naked cat, right?
Mm-hmm.
Do you have a lot of experience with dressed cats? I'm just curious. I'm like, the phrase "naked cat" like invites the like. Do you dress cats?
Only if you're a dad.
There are absolutely some people who do. There are some people who put like wacky sweaters on there.
Oh, sure. And I just wanted to confirm whether or not.
No, it's just a hairless cat.
Gotcha.
A very, 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 very hairless cat.
Okay.
Yeah. Guinness wears clothes. He wore a sweater in our Christmas photo yesterday.
Nice.
Do you like wearing clothes?
I think he just wants some love.
He wants to EAT. That's what he wants. His siblings are outside barking like maniacs because they're like, when I got home at 4:30, they're like, "Oh, it must be time for dinner." I'm like, no, it's like an hour.
This reminds me, Sweet Tea used to have like a dog, sort of, a mascot. One of our company members, Sean, had an English bulldog who he came to all the shows, and he was in a couple of them.
Love that.
And he like wore a ruff in pre-show, and it was fun.
That's a whole nother meaning.
Has Sweet Tea done 2 Gents?
Not yet. We have talked about doing it and partnering with a former partner that we've done some things with over time, called FAPS, FAPS, which every time I say it out loud, I blush a little bit, but they're called FAPS, and Fayetteville Animal Protection Society. They've come to our shows and like brought animals for adoption a time or two, and I think we've had a couple in shows. I think we had I don't know if I think there were cats in Cymbeline that like the queen like carried around and stroked, but the implication was also like maybe they were going to be cooked and eaten or something. But never two giants yet. It's on my list. It's a hard play.
No kidding.
You know, I think it's the first thing I saw at ASC, and I worked on it in college, and then it was like my first directing class project in grad school. So I have some fondness for it.
I can affirm that it works really well as an all-female production. Works really well.
I'm excited to hear it.
Yeah. That is one of many possible solutions to that gnarly disaster of a play.
I think the play is great if you end it in a different spot, maybe.
Yeah, for most characters.
You know, the pirates come in and murder everybody. I think that could end the play interestingly.
Yeah.
You know.
Valentine stays the outlaw king, and yeah, I like that. I would buy that. The thing about 2 Gents though is I love the fools in that play. Lance and Speed, they're both fantastic. And he's like, you can tell Will is just getting started. Like, he's just starting to realize how funny he is as a writer, and it's just delightful.
I like Thurio too. I mean, I don't like the character, but I think it's great.
It's a funny character. Yeah, it's a really funny character.
Yeah. So, New Year's resolution, maybe we should do it. I don't know.
I mean,
I'm going to read it because I haven't read it. There's my resolution. Yeah. Read 2 Gents.
There you go. That's a good one.
need to read more plays. It's been a while.
It sounds really,
I,
really
I mean,
basic.
I have a New Year's resolution, which is to read anything.
I'm working on that.
Mhm. Yeah.
I have encountered books recently, but they've all been in my ears.
Hey, that gets you somewhere.
I like listening to audiobooks.
I find that reading is really good right before you go to sleep, and you can usually get like maybe 2 paragraphs done before you pass out.
Wow, you are a very sleepy person.
I told you it's a real problem right now.
What have you listened to recently for pleasure?
Gosh, I listen to so much, like, as an editor. It's weird to think of, like, what have I listened to recently just for fun?
Oh, that's sad.
No, I mean,
It's hard.
It's funny now because they're, like, my friends. So I'm like, oh,
Oh,
I
yeah.
spend 6 hours listening to this person's voice. Yeah, I don't know. I can't think of the last audiobook I made it all the way through. It's been a while. I listen to a lot of podcasts. I don't know if that counts.
That's mostly what I do.
Yeah.
I do
Yeah, I
podcasts.
listen to a lot of podcasts. I like podcasts. I'm listening to one called The Old Gods of Appalachia, which is a horror thing.
Oh,
It's pretty interesting.
That's cool.
that
I think
sounds
the
like
last book I listened to, like I'm in the middle of somewhere, is the second book of the King Killer Chronicles series. The first one is The Name of the Wind, and the second book's title is escaping me. Jen Palm suggested them. The first one is really good. The second one, sort of. There's a whole sequence with like elf seduction, and it like.
It gets a bit much.
I mean, it just was like, okay, like this is a long time to spend in this sort of moment. And
Yep.
then I think I stopped listening, and but I might go back to it. The overall story is really interesting, and like the rights have been picked up by Lin-Manuel Miranda, which might mean maybe that could be interesting someday.
That could be really interesting. Yeah. I'm making my
So
way through
she's
this
a
little
little
beauty.
elf
I have her right in front of me. This is May.
She's gonna do the whole thing.
I am gonna.
I used to have that.
I'm gonna do them all.
Sometime.
I'm gonna do all of them. That's the plan. Like not just as audio dramas, but like stage them. My plan is to stage them all.
That's your life resolution.
And that, yeah, truly, that's my ongoing life. No, you laugh, but that is literally my life resolution.
Oh.
And
I believe you.
Right in the middle of all the tragedies right now. They're bonkersville. The best ones are the rewrites of Shakespeare. I'm enjoying those the most. Just because I'm so familiar with the source material. Like this little sucker. Has anybody read this? All for Love. It is.
I feel like I've seen it. Maybe
it is John Dryden's rewrite of Antony and Cleopatra, and it is amazing.
I've heard of it. I think we touch on it in one of my textbooks.
Don't tell me why he thought that was the right play to rewrite, but it's a marvel.
I have only a tiny bit of restoration experience, but it's significant. It was my first paper in grad school, not published, but I went to a conference, was on Nahum Tate's King Lear.
Oh yeah.
And then my MFA project was an amalgamation of it borrowed a bunch from them.
The Rehearsal.
The other rivals, not the one
The
that's
Rehearsal.
famous. No, the rivals from it's Two Noble Kinsmen, but it's not the famous The Rivals. It's another The Rivals by Davenant.
Oh, I thought you said it was The Rehearsal. Oh, okay.
No, I'm a fan of The Rehearsal.
So
I love that play. I don't think I've laughed harder than I've laughed at that play.
It's amazing.
It is fantastic.
Yep.
But yeah, no. My MFA project was like still a little of Chaucer, a little of the Shakespeare Fletcher, and then the Davenant Rivals.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's not as good. But there's some really good ones in here, and it sounds dumb, but I have the companion, right? The scholar's companion to this tome, and I'm reading them both in tandem. I'm also reading a biography of Aphra Behn right now that is
fun.
killer. But I'm reading them in the sense that I am constantly bouncing between lots of texts. I was reading Simon Callow's acting and restoration theater. I'm reading that in tandem with Ben and Ron. We actually have our first session on Friday. We're sort of reading it in like a acting book club as we get ready for the double bill, because they're the leads in both of the shows we're doing in January and Feb. So we've been reading Simon Callow's book. It's actually not a book that he wrote. It's a master class he gave that someone else turned into a book.
That's cool.
Completely excellent. High key recommended. Also, it's very lucid because because it's written colloquially, because it was a human being talking as opposed to a scholar writing. So it's very easy to follow, and that's why I think the three of us are having so much fun with it, because it feels really accessible. But
I love him.
Yeah,
He's great.
he is.
He's phenomenal.
He is great. I saw him in the Waiting for Godot with Stuart McCallum.
Yeah.
And it was like unbelievable. All of them are unbelievable.
Yeah. Did we talk about New Year's resolutions enough? Does that count as the title?
Well, I think restoration is poetically tied to New Year's resolutions.
I agree.
It's like emerging from a period with new goals and ambitions.
Yep.
What a nice bow.
Yeah.
You know.
And also, like, it takes a restoration of hope in order to have a restoration of society. Like, you can't rebuild, you can't restart unless you believe that there's a way to do better and be better. Which is, I think, why, like, I love these comedies so much.
Well, and this invites me to the thing that's been on my mind. I know we don't have tons of time left, but like, I am looking forward to, resolution-wise, being able to make art while perhaps society, country, world feels differently than they have felt for several years.
Yeah.
Like, that invites something else. It's like, okay, I'm not like, you're just called, I think, as an artist to do something in response to what's going on. And there's going to be a different thing that's going on. And so I don't even know what that is yet. I just know it's going to be different. Yeah. And I'm excited to say something about it.
Yeah, me too.
So I think it's going to be like, I don't know. Maybe it's going to be weird. Maybe like monkeys at typewriters writing Hamlet. Maybe.
I don't think there's any way that 2021 cannot be weird.
No, we're coming out of 2020.
Yeah, it's going to be weird. It's going to be more like 2020 for a while. But then it won't be.
Yeah.
We'll see where we are.
Mm-hmm. All right, friends. I think we tapped this one out. Thanks for meeting me. It was good to see you both.
Absolutely.
Good to see you.
We'll
do it again soon.
Yeah, well, at least next week. We'll be back
One
again.
of these times we should actually be drinking. I mean,
It's irresponsible. I'm on the West Coast.
It's
like the holidays.
Irresponsible is a very strong word.
It's 2 o'clock in the afternoon on a Monday. Like, do you know how that looks?
Like self-care.
I could lie to everyone and say this has been pre-recorded.
There you go. Actually, you know what I should do next time? I should just fill this with vodka, and no one will know. I mean, they'll probably be able to tell if I'm swinging it.
They'll probably
after
know.
a while, but at the beginning they won't know.
We're gonna work on it.
And later, you
won't
won't know.
One where we're like up at 11 and you're up at 8, and it would sort of work.
Yeah. Well, and that was the thing, is like I try to do, cocktail hours with friends, and they're like, "Why aren't you drinking?" And I'm like, "It's 3 o'clock in the afternoon my time." Not quite there yet. Although I will say I am, it's the holiday season. I feel like I'm allowed to treat myself every now and then.
You can do a little day drinking. It's okay.
So we'll see you both next week. Hopefully your dog is well, Jessie. Have an awesome one, friends.
Bye, y'all.
Ta-ta.
Bye.